So Twitter employees get the first chance today to talk with the new boss, who might be the boss. The billionaire will take part, Elon Musk will, in a company town hall for the first time since that offer of $44 billion to buy it. Outkick founder Clay Travis is here. Nice to see you, Clay. Good morning
to see you guys as well.
There's a rub back and forth here. I think they should televise this.
Oh, it would be incredible if they televised it.
Right?
Yeah, I'd watch it in a heartbeat. I'm a Twitter shareholder. I have been for a long time. And my hope has been, guys, that Elon can come in and just apply content-neutral policies and end this far left-wing bias that the company has had for a very long time. And so that's the thing that I'm most intrigued to see when he has this conversation with the employees. What is the reception? And what sort of public comments does he make? Because you know they're going to leak almost as soon as he makes them in regards to what he would expect his ownership to be.
I see why they did pre-submitted questions, but a free-for-all. Like, they were having a free-for-all on Twitter after he bought it.
No, you're right.
The employees were actually actively challenging him there, and he was giving it right back. But I contend that the employees at Twitter should have an open mind. Yeah. Because that might be the best boss you ever had.
Well, what I love is, you know that he is a genius when it comes to Tesla and when it comes to SpaceX. And I feel like he's going to be able to get the right data engineers to go in there and figure out what I want to see is the public algorithm, right? He's been arguing that he's going to do this for a long time. What are the actual rules that are put in place as to what trends, as to why we see the tweets that we do on our timeline? And how can he make that more public and more honest and more transparent and hopefully more content neutral? That's my goal.
The reason why that's important is because you want to see what the company is pushing forward and what the company may be holding back.
That's right. 100%, because as soon as Elon was announced as the new owner, at least that theory, if it goes through, the $44 billion purchase, I don't know about you guys, but I saw a massive increase in my overall Twitter following, right? Almost instantaneously.
That's so weird.
So my theory on that is that the Twitter engineers were trying to burn the evidence of the rig job that they had put in place because they knew that when Elon comes in, he's going to have sophisticated data analysts who are going to see the processes that they put in place that aren't fair.
So leading up to this, yesterday he was tweeting about politics, and he talked about voting for Mayra Flores there in Texas. And Jamel Hill from ESPN called him a white supremacist. Like, she's the first Mexican-born congresswoman.
Well, first of all, Elon's an African-American, African from South Africa, now immigrated here. And his first of all, Jamel is an idiot. All right, let's be honest. I mean, she has basically, that's her play that she does. She called the President Trump a white supremacist. She's no longer at ESPN, partly because of that reason, right? That's her calling card, is to put that insult out there. But the first ever Republican that he voted for is a Mexican-born woman who is flipping a district that has not been won by a Republican in over 100 years. This seems like the opposite of what a white supremacist would be doing. So that insult, racist, was not efficient or effective enough, and so it's been transferred over to white supremacists.
I always find it weird that women who have achieved certain things, like Jamel, that you wouldn't want to congratulate a woman who has just had a major historic achievement. Like, where's the congratulations from AOC and the squad?
She did a fantastic job. I watched the interview this morning while I was getting ready to come over here on Fox and Friends. And look, I think what she represents, and this is what's got everybody on the left wing terrified, as you guys well know, is the argument has been white supremacist racism. If we look at what's likely coming, I think, in 5 months, I think we are going to have not just a Republican wave, but a Republican tsunami, a red wave, a red tsunami. And when that happens, overwhelmingly, I think white, black, Asian, and Hispanic people are all moving towards the right side because of the way that Joe Biden has run this administration and because of the way the left wing has captured the Democrat Party. And honestly, that's what Elon's talked about a lot, guys, is that historically he was a Barack Obama donor. I mean, that doesn't seem, by the way, like a white supremacist. He said, cast
my first vote ever for a Republican.
Yeah, but I mean, Elon has donated money to Barack Obama in the past. He used to be a Democrat. He now thinks that the world, he shared that great meme where it's like he hasn't moved, but the left wing has gone so far left. And that's the way I feel in many ways, is I went from somebody who was middle of the road to somebody who's now considered a right-winger, and my opinions haven't really changed on anything.
Clay, it's great to see you in person.
Great to see you all as well.
Out of the attic from Nashville.
Congratulations on a year anniversary. You and Buck Sexton have done an incredible job.
We're excited. You guys, you've been on the show.
I love that.
And we have a lot of fun on the radio show every day.
Oh, we had fun.
Yes.
And he likes Dana Reed's sports.
Dana Reed Sports needs
Classic.
to happen more frequently on this program.
We've been trying, but we just...
I mean, hey, look, I mean, there's a lot of things coming up with the Live Tour. I mean, I want to know that. And then, hey, it's going to be a season. Your Bengals are going to be back in training camp here soon. And
well, just wait till I get my hands on college football.
Breaking it all down, I know.
Wait till I get my hands on college football. It's going to be amazing.
Great
to see you.
Great to see you all as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.